Ladies and gents, welcome to Tournament 2, 第2回、中小部のサバイバルアタック、Sasuke Prime. My name is Cameron Coldcloud. As always, I will be your host for this evening. Last week, Jay Lewis did a Jay Lewis thing and got all the way to the final stage. Nuts. I believe he was 7/10 of a meter short from beating this course in its inaugural appearance. But yeah, we got a new set of 50 competitors. A few tweaks, a few changes have been made to the course, including some last-minute stuff, because that's just Ninja Machine tradition at this point, and maybe even teasers for future stuff. Eventually, in this broadcast. But yeah, it's gonna be awesome. The course has been buffed a little bit, actually, because 7 people in Stage 3 is kind of nuts. I'm trying to hit that Muso level of difficulty, you know? Shout out to Philip Scott, Muso, by the way. My BGM just stopped. Thank you, BGM, for inadvertently telling me to get on with it. Okay. Stage 1. Stage 1, as always, is River Ruins. It is a speed-based stage. Gotta be quick on this one. The time limit is 85 seconds for the dudes, 90 for the ladies. Striding steps from Proto Sasuke. Several curving steps similar to the ones on the Rokudan Tobi from early Sasuke, except they're in a curving formation. Then you have the rope slider, similar, like curving in the other direction. The dancing deck, mix of the main deck from Viking and the dancing stones from Kunoichi. Chaos balls from international competitions. The spin bridge, but there's 3 of them. 3 balls. One of the balls is higher up than the other one, so you gotta up on the second transition, down on the third. Difficult. Black Widow, the crux of this stage. 2 trampoline jumps into a jumping spider. Difficult. Parkour run from A&W. Like the striding steps, but a bit like it's kind of different. It's from A&W, so it's pretty much expected. You have multiple circular platforms. Actually, striding steps, that was the wrong description, sorry. Multiple cylindrical platforms, even a rope slider. I described that completely wrong, sorry. Parkour run. Multiple cylindrical shaped platforms that are curving in one direction, one facing in the opposite direction. Then you have a rope swing to the other side. Then you have the Tempest wall, which is like the warp wall, but it curves forward instead of back, so there's no overhang. You gotta reach forward. Really reach in order to grab that ledge. It was meant to have a stronger men's conference. Finally, the high road from A&W. You gotta press a button, do a time jump off a trampoline, grab onto a ring, hold onto it, get to a ladder climb, hit the buzzer in 85 seconds. 50 competitors. I can't remember how many got to stage 2 last week. But yeah, we're doing it again in stage 1 right now. Kicking things off this week is a debutant, one of the many of this tournament, Benjamin Reichman. Will anyone clear this first stage? Saving on the Chaos Balls. But he's out on the Tempest Wall. Wait, you get 1 shot at the Tempest Wall, damn.
Oh, wait. Oh, I'm going to interrupt, but he would have timed out on Tempest Wall anyway.
That's fair.
That's what usually happens when you get that message.
13, I believe. Thank you, Radium, by the way. Tatsuya Tada. This is actually his debut appearance on this particular competition. The dancing deck. Interesting spot to fail at. Meanwhile, the Texas Ninja making his debut in Sasuke Prime, Vance Walker. Can he be our first clear of the day? And no, the high road takes out the 2-time A&W champion. Still manages to get little screen time. Yes, he does. And so does Vance Walker, because he's out on the high road, which is a bit of a shocker. He's really low on time. This is a tight time limit. The time limits have been buffed significantly. Making his debut appearance, he's a semi-finalist in the first era of Omega, the first person ever to do so. actually. Drew Becker. Saving on the striking steps. And the Chaos Balls. Move there tonight. And he's our first clear on stage 1. Drew Becker moves on to stage 2. He's going to be the first to do so. We will have a runner in the Forgotten Factory later on. How many, if any, will join him? Moving on to Joel Matley. Saving on the dancing deck. And no, he times out on the high road. That was close. 1.5 seconds short. Here come the Folsoms. Starting with Sam. Saving on the Chaos Balls. We're seeing a lot of saves there. High road. He times out there as well. It is a tight timer. It is a very difficult speed stage. I completely forgot to stop the BGM. Whoops. The clear BGM. Flip Rodriguez. Flip. He did very well in Omega last week, if I recall correctly. Black Widow takes out the A&W veteran. Another debutant in Ashton Myler. Never mind. The dancing deck takes out Ashton Myler. Didn't last that long. And for a new personal best, it's Max Feinberg. Can he get a new personal best? He does. Can he clear stage 1? He will not. The Black Widow takes another victim. Only one man in stage 2 thus far. I believe it was Becker. Drew Becker in stage 2. Jonas Schöne. Can he pass stage 1? The Black Widow takes him out for saving on the dancing deck. Rough run from start to finish. Kane Lepzak for a new personal best. He's got to get past the Black Widow. He does. He could clear. And he does. Kane Lepzak's our second clear on stage 1. He's finally moving on to stage 2. And it took him 2 tournaments to do so. Kane Lepzak, the A&W finalist, moves on to stage 2 tonight. We move on now to Amir Malik, one of the very few who's been there before in Sasuke Prime. But the Chaos Balls takes out the second stage runner, one of the second stage runners from last week. Early exit for Malik. Move on now, to Hayate Kajihara. Saving on the dancing deck. Past Black Widow. At the time, but he fails on the high road. That is tough. I forgot to stop the BGM again. I gotta remember to stop the BGM after clears. Xavier Dantzler. Can he actually clear the first stage this time? We join the other 2 moving on to stage 2. No, but the high road. He was low on time anyway. Last week we had 13 going into stage 2. We're 14 runs in. We're only at 2. Our next runner, though, one of the strongest female competitors in the world. And oh my god, we have more than one female competitor this time. Addie Herman takes on Sasuke Prime for the first time. Saving on Black Widow. She fails once on the Tempest Wall, and that's going to cost her. One of the greatest run from... Probably the greatest run from a female competitor thus far, though. Getting to the high run. Strong start for the female competitors. We move on now to Max Gunna, making his debut appearance. How will he fare? Saving on the Black Widow. Jesus. And no! He times out by 1/10 of a second. That is a heartbreaker for Max Gunna. Meanwhile, the Weatherman, one of the only chatters in this competition that have actually participated in it, the Weatherman, Joe Moravsky. He's been to stage 2, but he will not get there again. The Black Widow takes him out. A strong... an early exit for the USA rep in Sasuke's World Cup. Flashland Ashland. To get a new personal best, he's got to pass the Chaos Balls. Can he do that? He does. But the Black Widow, the very next obstacle. Oh, 18 runs in, we're only at 2. Jun Sato, who's known for speed, known for flashy moves. He's going to need all the speed he can get here. To get a new personal best, he must beat the Black Widow. Which, we just saw someone fail earlier. But he fails on the jump to the ring on the high road. Jun Sato with a new personal best, but not enough to beat stage 1. Another unfortunate end for the president of the Japan Parkour Association. Przemysław Janzuk. Sorry if I butchered that pronunciation. I've never seen that name before, but he's out on the Black Widow. Early exit for the debutant. Hans Hutz. New personal best. He's got to beat stage 1. But the Black Widow takes another victim. We're going to be seeing failed Black Widow a lot. That obstacle is the crux of this stage. Easily the crux of this stage. 21 runs in. 2 moving on. Now we get into some of the really big names from Japan's competitors, the Japanese competitors. This dude actually started on Viking, as I found out very recently. Which is actually crazy. I didn't even think about that. He started like 13 years old on Viking. It was Viking 2 or Viking 3. I don't remember. Keitaro Yamamoto. Saving on the striding steps. But the Black Widow takes out Keitaro. Early exit. From one Yamamoto to another, the ace of the Black Tigers, Yoshiyuki Yamamoto. Sasuke finalist. How will he fare on Sasuke Prime? He's got a new personal best. Can he be our the third clear? He is! The ace of the Black Tigers moves on to stage 2, and we're up to 3. 23 runs in, nearly halfway through the roster. We're at 3 clears so far. Still got half the runners left to go. We move on now to Ryosuke Miyaoka. One of the biggest dark horse moments in Sasuke history. This dude went on to beat the vertical limit burst and surpass Yusuke on Christmas. It aired on Christmas, but it was taped months before. Anyway, the Salary Man takes on Sasuke Prime. For a new personal best, he's got to beat the first stage, saving on the... Oh, he beats it! He does it! Ryosuke Miyaoka with 600ths of a second left! That was as close as it gets on Sasuke Prime. Ryosuke Miyaoka moves on to stage 2 with a clutch run. That was incredible. Should probably turn the BGM down, or the clear BGM down. But rounding out the first half of the roster, Yusuke Morimoto. He's a 2-time Sasuke Prime champion, making his debut appearance in Sasuke Prime, and he, of course, clears stage 1. Easily. 3.73 on the clock. Completely flawless run. That was one of the fastest, I believe, one of the faster times of the day so far. And of course, it would be the Prince who pulls it off. Moving on to the second half of the roster, Sandro Scheibler, semi-finalist of Omega. We're up to 5 at the moment. 5 moving on to stage 2. We're halfway through the roster. Scheibler. He's one of the first people to get to stage 7 of Omega, but he times out on the high road, specifically the ladder. A heartbreaker for the semi-finalist of Omega. Someone who got very close to pulling off that same feat at one point, Jan Tatarowicz. One of the greatest competitors to come out of Poland. And he's out on the high road. Another unfortunate exit for another very strong competitor. Second of the Folsoms. Here comes Phil. Looking good at the moment. And he is clear number 6. Phil Folsom moving on to stage 2 on his first appearance. In his debut appearance, he's going to the Forgotten Factory. We could have more. We could have a lot more. Moving on to Enzo de Ferrari Wilson. Another debutant in Sasuke Prime. Saving on... Oh, rough run from start to finish. Enzo saving on the striding steps. That he's out on the Chaos Balls. That is yikes if I've ever seen one. Matthias Neurel, though. One of the stronger competitors to come out of France. Saving on parkour run, and he's out on the high road. It is a tough obstacle. It's rated as a 9 in Course Creator. It is freaking hard. Going into the 30s, as we move on to Naxagarmore, first person to attempt Omega 6th stage. Probably fair on Sasuke Prime's first stage. He's out on the Black Widow. We've just lost an A&W final stage runner. One of the very few female competitors tonight, Grace Carr. She does have a nerf time limit, but the stage has not been nerfed thus far. And she moves on to stage 2. The first female competitor to beat the River Ruins, and it's Grace Carr. We have a female competitor in stage 2. That is incredible. Grace Carr moving on to the Forgotten Factory. We're up to 7, one of them female. How many more can we get? Zach Stoles. Saving on the striding steps, but the Black Widow takes out one of the strongest Aussie competitors we've ever had. Moving on to the tragic hero of Omega, Clément Gravier. Ripped France in the Sasuke World Cup a few years ago, saving on the Chaos Balls, but he's out in the Black Widow. Renee Castley. I need to fix his nameplate, actually. I will be right back. Okay, now with a fixed nameplate, this is not the first time this has happened to this particular competitor. It's Renee Castley. Oh, the BGM stopped. Why did it stop? Okay. Renee Castley. This man's known for surprises. I say that a lot. Oh my god, he's gonna beat stage 1. Because of course he is. He's Renee freaking Castley. We're up to 8 competitors in the Forgotten Factory. One of them is German. Renee Castley, the circus artist, moving on to stage 2 for the first time in his Sasuke Prime career.
Well done, Renee.
Moving on to Oliver Lutman. He had multiple crazy Dark Horse moments. One of them in stage 7, the end of stage 7 of Omega. He's never been past. He's been to stage 2 of Omega before. Sasuke Prime before. Can he do it again? No, he doesn't by half a second. If it wasn't for the buff time limit, he'd be going to stage 2 again. But Oliver Lutman times out by just over half a second on stage 1. Brady Parks. And that's the wrong name in Japanese. Hold on 1 second. Okay, now with a fixed nameplate, it's Brady Parks. He'd be number 9 to move on to stage 2. Low on time, and he's out on the high road. Just under a second away from stage 2. Or a second short. That is rough. Asa Lashesa. No shades to be found in the stage thus far. Unless the high road counts. Yeah, I don't think there's any, unfortunately, for Asa Lashesa. He's gonna try regardless. And he will succeed with just over half a second left. Asa Lashesa moving on to stage 2 for the first time in his career. In his debut appearance, he makes it 9 competitors going to the Forgotten Factory. Incredible scenes from Asa Reynolds. Elijah Browning, meanwhile, trying to get a new personal best and not fail the first obstacle. And he does so, saving on the dancing deck though. Can he beat the first stage? It's gonna be close, but he times out by half a second. That is another heartbreaker. She also whipped clear without the female time limit. Yeah, that's fair. Elijah Browning Coming up just short of the second stage. He did it again with a clear BGM. Oops. Evan Lovelly going into the 40s. The Black Widow. He gets a new personal best by 3 obstacles. That is unfortunate. But a new personal best is a new personal best. No matter how you put it. Evan Lovelly. Pretty good run. Whoops. That's the nameplates. Tyler Smith. We saw him get to the final stage of Omega last week, which was insane. He was LMS. We got to the back half of stage 8 and beat Jay Lewis, essentially. Which is something very few competitors are able to do. But how will he fare on Sasuke Prime? Yeah, new personal best. He's got to beat the parkour run. He does, but he's out on the high road. He would have had the time too. Smith. Another heartbreaker on stage 1. Jackson Arados. He was LMS a few weeks ago in Omega. How will he fare on Sasuke Prime? In his debut appearance, he's out on the high road as well. And I'm pretty sure what I did test earlier, last minute test, because Ninja Machine tradition at this point, he's been to the final stage in one of those tests. But he will not get close to that this time, unfortunately. Out on the first stage. Noah Munier in his debut appearance. Never mind, he's out on the dancing deck. Noah Munier, very little screen time. He got the Tada treatment, I guess. Unfortunately. Kyle Soderman. And he's out on the Black Widow. We're up to 9 still. Yuri Brokden. Former LMS from Omega. Nearly the first to get to Niflheim a few weeks ago. Can he make it double digits? He will! Yuri Brokden, the former LMS of Omega a few weeks ago, makes it double digits. 10 people going into stage 2. Still got 5 runners to go. Still got a shot to break the overall first stage clear record in Sasuke Prime, set last week at 13. But we need a lot of clears, and we're probably going to get a lot of clears. I think. I don't know. I mean, you never know. But here comes Senor Samyach, former LMS in Omega. Saving on the Black Widow. Can he make it 11? He will with just under 5 seconds on the clock. Samyach makes it 11 in stage 2. We could be on the road to breaking the record. We need 3 more clears to break it. We still have 4 runners left to go. I think we're in great shape to pull that off. Kai Beckstrand, meanwhile, he's never beaten this first stage. He's gotten close. He's failed the parkour run, which is one of the easier obstacles, I'd say. Not this time. And he's going to clear the first stage as well. We are up to 12 going on to stage 2. 12 people going on to the Forgotten Factory. One of them being Kai Beckstrand. And we move on now to our top 3 from last week. The only 3 people to get to stage 3 last week. The first of which is actually fairly surprising. Yuji Urushihara. He got fairly far into the 3rd stage. But how will he fare this week? Can you repeat what he did last week? The parkour run stops him in his tracks. He probably would have had the time too. That's unfortunate. Isaiah Thomas. Penultimate runner for tonight. And he's gonna do it. Oh, that was close, but he pulled it off. 1.5 seconds on the clock for Isaiah Thomas. And that brings us up to 13. We are 1 away from breaking the record set last week. And of course, the person who could end up pulling that off is our only Sasuke Prime finalist, Jay Lewis. Our only champion of Omega, the #1 ninja in the world. And of course, he's going to clear the stage and round out stage 1 with a new record. 14 clears out of 50. 14 people moving on to stage 2. And of course, the person who breaks that record is Jay freaking Lewis. But now we move on to stage 2 in a moment. Something I forgot to mention is that stage 1's Ninja Killer is the high road. I just got word from a live viewer. Appreciate that. We're going to move on to stage 2 in a moment. Moving on to stage 2. The Forgotten Factory. It consists of 7 obstacles. And another buffed time limit of 165 seconds. Consists of 7 obstacles. First of which is the tackle, specifically the version from later tournaments of Sasuke. So, yeah, later tournaments of Sasuke, so they are slightly heavier. Next is the Chuck Crank, which I cannot remember. It consists of competitors using their power to turn a crank with their hands. Crank's movement pulls a nunchuck up a sliding track, which must be reached to and slid down within reach. And this is a sharp tank obstacle. That's interesting. Speaking of Ninja Machine exclusive obstacles, the On Guard ladder from Proto Sasuke. A mix of On Guard and the Salmon ladder. The Salmon ladder, but with a telescoping bar that you got to do the Salmon ladder jumps from rung to rung, but you got to telescope the bar in and out between each set of rungs. It is difficult. Directly into the backwards floating boards. Also from Proto Sasuke. So the floating boards, but they're turned 90 degrees, so now you gotta reach backwards in order to reach the next board. And then you finally get to a rest point. You move on to the Spider Maze. Last week it was the V2 version. This is the more difficult V1 version. So this consists of the following. Look at that real quick. A trampoline, spider walls reminiscent of a jumping spider. Spider drop and zigzag climb before opening 2 heavy doors similar to the spider trap. This is from Muso. Then the Gyakuso conveyor from Sasuke, the older version, of course. And finally, the iron gates. Remember the passing wall from Sasuke Rising, the second one that you opened instead of lifted? Now there's 3 of them. And the time limit has been buffed to 165 seconds. So with that in mind, we're going to move on to stage 2. Right now, let me turn the BGM a little bit down. That should be fine. All right. Kicking things off, of course, Drew Becker. And we had 3 clears last week. Since this has been buffed, I don't know if we'll get another one. I mean, you never know with this stage. Drew Becker is out on the On Guard ladder. Kane Lepsak, he already has a new personal best. 13 competitors remain. This is a buff stage and a buff time limit. Looking good so far. Saving on the backwards floating boards. But the Spider Maze takes out Kane Lepsak. Yoshiyuki Yamamoto now. And again, this dude already has a new personal best. Really fair on the Forgotten Factory. This is the first time getting there. Good on the floating boards. There's a lot of time left. Spider Maze. And can he be our first clear on stage 2? No! He was so close. 1.5 seconds short from getting to stage 3 for the first time in his career. Very strong run, though, from Yamamoto. Easily takes the lead. But now, Ryosuke Miyaoka. Wait, like 12. That should be fine. Ryosuke Miyaoka. Can he be our first clear on stage 2? Spider Maze. Still got a bit of... Does he have the time? I don't think he has the time. That was close. Though. Doesn't get quite as close as Yamamoto did, but still very close to stage 3. We now move on to the Prince, Yusuke Morimoto. In his debut appearance on Sasuke Prime. Saving on the Chuck Crank. Backwards floating board, still no rest point. Spider Maze. Looking good so far. Can he be our first clear stage 2? He is! The Prince, the first to move on to stage 3 tonight. There will be a stage 3. And of course,
Yeah.
Yusuke Morimoto, the Prince, is the first person to pull that off. And with a fairly good time, too. 6 seconds on the clock. I think we're due for a lot more clears in stage 2 tonight. But of course, Yusuke is the first. And we move on now to Phil Folsom. Let me get his nameplate. There we go. Gonna make it 2 in stage 3. We're 1 for 5 at the moment. Saving on the backwards floating boards. 1 for 5. We got around 10 runners left. Oh, he times out at the Iron Gates. Phil Folsom stopped in his tracks by time itself on the Forgotten Factory. I keep calling it the Forbidden Factory. But yeah, Grace Carr, the first female competitor to reach stage 2. How will she fare in the Forgotten Factory? The on-guard ladder takes out the lone female competitor. But a very good run for Grace Carr. We move on now to Renee Castley, who I now realize has not been on Sasuke Prime last week. And his nameplate has been fixed accordingly. Renee Castley. Will he join Yusuke in stage 3? Good so far. On time at least. He may have the time. It's going to be close. Yes! The circus artist moves on to stage 3 and joins the Prince in the floating fortress. Renee Castley not with the fastest time. He was close, 1.5 seconds. But pretty much a flawless run from start to finish on stage 2. Yeah, in his debut appearance, Renee Castley gets it done. And he's moving on to stage 3 with the Prince. Asa Lashesa. We are down to... We are 2 for 8. So that makes 8 runners left. Asa Lashesa. Asa Reynolds. Saving on the Chuck Crank. He was 1 jump away from the final stage in Tournament 8. Which was around a month ago, I think. But the Spider Maze takes out the former Omega element. Not LMS, but close. He would have been joint LMS if it wasn't... Well, probably not. I don't know if that's possible. Yuri Prokten. Speaking of former LMSs in Omega, Yuri Prokten trying to get to stage 3 for the first time in his career. And to get a new personal best, he's got it. His personal best was BFB. And he's not going to be our next clear. It was close. 4.4 short. Time down on the 3rd of the Iron Gates. That is unfortunate. But he's got a new personal best. And that's something to be proud of, I think. Samiyach. Good for the moment. In his debut appearance, the youngest champion in Ninja Warrior Israel history. I don't think he has the time. He does not. It's close, though. Beckstrand. He's already got a new personal best. He's never made it to stage 2 in this competition, saving on the on-guard ladder. Spider Maze. Does he have the time? I think he does. He's going to stage 3. And Kai Beckstrand, the ANW final stage runner, or ANW finalist, as I call it, either way. He's going to stage 3 for the first time in his career. And he's 1 for 1 on the second stage. Not a flawless run. He did make a save on the on-guard ladder. But still the fastest time of the day. I didn't even see that. Nearly 9 seconds on the clock for Kai Beckstrand. Very good time. But we move on to Isaiah Thomas. 2 runners left to go. Isaiah Thomas and Jay Lewis. And we did not break the record, we tied it. As I've figured out. I don't know if he has the time. He does! He does have the time! He's going to stage 3 again! Isaiah Thomas, the first person to get to stage 3 in Sasuke Prime multiple times. He did it last week. He did it this week. Isaiah Thomas, he nearly got to the back half of stage 3 last week, and now he has a shot to do it again. Flyboy going to stage 3 for the second time in his career on Sasuke Prime. And to cap it off, Jay Lewis is probably about to demolish the stage unless he has a choke moment, which he's had a lot of times already. But will it happen here? Saving on the chuck crank. Might be the closest thing to a choke that he has. He's out in the backwards floating boards. Jay Lewis is out of the equation. That is a shocker. And we're going to stage 3 with 4 competitors. 4 people moving on to stage 3. Jay Lewis will not be one of them. Morimoto, Castley, Beckstrand, Thomas moving on to stage 3. But first, I have a bit of a teaser to show off. I did say I'd do it earlier. But yeah, 4 people going to stage 3. We broke the record by 1. But in the meantime, here's something to think about before next week. Ooh, Sasuke Prime on the left. That's interesting. On the right, we got ourselves a double feature. So how it's going to work starting next week, we will be broadcasting 2 different competitions on the same day. Kunoichi Prime, I mean, it could be. You never know. It could be anything. I got something in mind. I'm really excited to show it off. And yes, this is related to that teaser I showed off in Creation Station yesterday. So, yeah. It's going to be a double feature on Tuesdays from now on. And it will be revealed on Thursday on Omega. So, y'all might want to stay tuned to find that out. The file name for that teaser? Where is that? Okay, just that's just a placeholder. That's a placeholder. But yeah. But yeah, we're going to move on to stage 3 in a moment. Something that's teaser, something for y'all to ruminate about for the next 48 hours, I guess. But yeah, stage 3 in a moment. Stage 3, 4 athletes remain. Of course, is Floating Fortress. It has been buffed a little bit since last week. Keylog Hang from, I believe, A and W. Competitors remove and insert H-shaped handholds into a series of slots, not to be confused with circle, directly into the Anaconda, which I recall correctly. You can choose from 3-meter laches across the bars, or working their way across the doorknobs. By the way, it's gonna be tough. Still in the rest points as a 7. Directly into the board hang. This is the V1 version from Musou, not the easier V3 version. This version has a series of, so you cross a series of hanging boards by gripping the sides, book holders. This version has a series of sideways boards before the upward, lateral, and downward sections, so it is tough. It's a level 10. Body prop Kai, which is from Proto Sasuke, if I recall correctly. Body prop, but you have a multiple vertical sections, one going down, one going up. And it is tough. Going into the back half, it gets even tougher, though. The new 3.5 is the Citadel of Cliffhanger, which is a version of the A&W 8 to 10 Cliffhanger, placing the cat jump with a reverse grab and the final jump with an ultra crazy jump complete with a moving ledge. It's a 10, directly into the crazy vertical limit. And it only gets tougher, 3 vertical limit ledges, the second of which is higher and rotated 90 degrees. And essentially the A&W 6 crazy cliffhanger with vertical limit. It is nuts. Directly, no, we have added a rest point before 3.7, which is Island of the I-Beams. Play on the name of a series of Survivor. 2 I-beams to be crossed from underside with a rotating plank in the middle. It's a mix of the I-beam flip and the hinge. Requires 2 spider flip style jumps, and finally, 3.8 as per usual is on guard. Version with a dismount. Using a telescoping bar, athletes cross 3 sets of tracks, the second one being higher and narrower than the other 2. At the end of the first track, they jump the bar up and cross, telescoping the bar in to avoid a set of blockers. They do this again for the second track, jumping down and across to the third while telescoping it back out. And of course, a pipe slider style dismount. The only man to beat this is Jay Lewis last week. The only man to get to the back half. Like, nobody else has gotten to the back half. No one's gotten close except for Isaiah Thomas. Yeah, we're going to move on to stage 3 right now. 4 athletes remain. The first of which has been in this position before, never on Sasuke Prime. He is a 5-time Sasuke finalist and a 2-time champion, the Prince Yusuke Morimoto. Kicking off stage 3 this week. He now faces the Floating Fortress. Here we go. Starting with the key lock hang. Not to be confused with the circuit board. Good so far. This is a bit of a burnout stage. Past the Anaconda. He's got to make his way through the board hang now. Past the sideways section. This is the V1 version, so this is easily the most difficult of the board hangs from Muso. Saving on the ascending section is Yusuke Morimoto. That's the top section. Can he get to the back half? The only man to pull that off last week was Jay Lewis. Onto the descending section. He's onto the body prop Kai. Only Jay Lewis has gotten to this point. Jay Lewis and Isaiah Thomas have gotten to this point. That's the descent. Now for the ascent. And he'll be the second man to get to the back half. He's got it! The Prince is on the Citadel of Cliffhanger. 3/4 of his stamina left. Big reach up. He's out on Citadel of Cliffhanger, and with that, 3 athletes remain. And we are down a Sasuke champion. We move on now to Renee Castley. Yusuke Morimoto is the second person to get to the back half of the stage. The first, obviously, was Jay Lewis. The reverse grab of the Citadel of Cliffhanger takes out the Prince. Jay Lewis is out of the equation. Have to change his nameplate. He is a Sasuke finalist. The first international Sasuke finalist since Lee and Shi in 24. And Renee did it in 37, if I recall correctly. Saving on the board hang is Renee Castley. Can he handle the board hang? This is his first appearance on Sasuke Prime. Onto the top section. He's also got to get that dismount. He's there. Just over half his stamina left. He's got the dismount. He's on to body prop Kai. But he's out on the descent. That is tough. And with that, we're down to 2. Only one person has gotten to the back half thus far. And he was out on the Citadel cliffhanger. How will our next competitor fare? 2 athletes remain. The first of which has been in this position before, but he's never been on past the first stage of Sasuke Prime. Kai Beckstrand now faces stage 3, the Floating Fortress. 2 athletes remain. We are 0 for 2 on stage 3 this week, and the only man to have beaten it is out of the equation. Keylok Hang. Kai Beckstrand and Isaiah Thomas. Kai Beckstrand and Isaiah Thomas, the last hope for a finalist. Kai Beckstrand, he was an A&W finalist. That is, to be fair, a very difficult stage, but it is not on the same level as the Floating Fortress. Saving on the board hang for the descending section. And he's on to BPK. BP Kai. We just saw Renee fall on the descent. And Kai's got it. He's got to do the ascent of the BP Kai. And he's on to the Citadel of Cliffhanger. In order to pass Yusuke and beat LMS, he's got to get past that reverse grab. And no, it takes him out as well. And we're down to 1. And he's never even been to the back half of the stage. He's gotten close, but he's never been there. And his name is Isaiah Thomas. The last hope for a finalist tonight. If he fails at any point, it is over. He's been in this position before. He's never been to the back half of this stage. He's gotten close, though. He's gotten to the body prop Kai. That's the Keylok Hang. Still got a long way to go, even after he gets past that point. The third stage has been buffed significantly. Nobody's even gotten to the, gotten past the reverse grab. No one's gotten to 3.6 tonight. I believe that might be the killer of the stage. Isaiah Thomas is out on the board hang, and that will do it for Tournament 2 of Sasuke Prime. The farthest anyone got this week was the reverse grab of the Citadel of Cliffhanger. The people who got there, Yusuke and Beckstrand. But Isaiah Thomas, the last hope for a finalist, was out on 3.3. Just before his personal best on the buffed obstacle. 3 people got to stage 3 this week. Or 4 people got to stage 3 this week. 0 in stage 4. And I believe only 2 people have been, nobody's been to 3.6 since last week. But the record so far is 4.3. But the farthest anyone will get this week is 3.5. And it was close. It was near the end of 3.5 too. They had a lot of stamina left. But yeah, that is unfortunate. Nobody will face the Cosmic Cannon. Let's check out the leaderboard. Top 10, Lepsak, Prokid, Miyoka, Folsom, Yoshi, Samiyat, Thomas, Castley, Kai, and Yusuke. Remember, Omega on Thursdays. Until then, I'm Caleb Cold Cloud. This has been Sasuke Prime. Fare thee well.